True achievement and success stems from doing something impossible. The impossible is simply something that you've never accomplished before. Every year around New Year's, successful people write down a list of goals that they would like to accomplish. Sometimes we write down things that sound good at the time but are more work than we were really prepared to do. I did this. I thought it'd be cool to run a half marathon and a marathon. I excused them off the list as the year faded into the next. The problem with writing off written goals is that they come back to haunt you. My time of reckoning came when my son asked me about my written goals. I admitted that I really wasn't serious about those things, and saying that bothered me. I decided to do something. I began to look into races and realized that I wasn't interested in paying the $50 entrance fee for an event I didn't even know if I could finish. I came upon another plan. Ann and I went out on a bike ride and determined the halfway point for a half marathon. Now all I had to do was run out and back. It sounded simple enough. I had the course, set a date, bragged about it to my friends on Facebook, carved up the night before, did some extra chores in that morning and anything else I could think of before I had to face the challenge. And then it was time. I did what every successful person does. I began. I also had no idea what I'd gotten myself into. The first mile was lovely. I saw my friends and bragged, "I'm running a half marathon," as I strode by. I met Ann at the first mile and had a nice drink. Mile 2 was fine, and in mile 3 I began to wonder about the other 10 miles that I had to go. I let that feeling pass and kept on the trip. When I hit 5.8 miles, I was ready for a break, but I was still going strong. A few minutes later, I made it into the gray area of impossible as I passed 6.1 miles of the 10K. I'd never gone this far before. It wasn't until I ventured into the impossible that I discovered what I was doing out there. I was out there to slay the monsters. I was weak, and the monsters took advantage of my weakness. The first monster attacked just after that break. The road took a slight uphill, and I was weary. I kept running, and I didn't know if I could. I doubted the wisdom and the possibility of my venture. I was just about to stop and quit when I saw Ann waiting for me just down the road. I decided that I could make it that far. Ann was more beautiful than ever as I staggered into the halfway point. I stopped and rested for a few minutes, but not long enough to let my muscles cramp. I took off after this break with more power and strength than I'd ever had. The first monster almost stopped me, but I came out stronger and more powerful. My purpose intensified, and I kept going. The next monsters were small and easily whipped by a short stop along the way. I made it to the next break spot and refreshed my body and soul. Shortly after this break, I don't know what happened. I think I considered how important it was to complete this race against the impossible. Then, bam! Out of nowhere, I was overcome with deep feelings of emotion, failure, despair, and weakness. I just stopped on the side of the road and cried. When I got myself together, Ann came by and gently guided me by letting me know it was okay to walk for a little while. So I did. From this point on, I ran where I could and walked where I needed to. Even at this survival pace, I wondered if I could do it. I looked at my GPS thing and realized that I was only a half a mile from my goal. There was no way to fail this close to the end. The end of the course had a hill. Before the race, I decided to run up it. So I did. I began at the bottom and cheered myself on with each step. Go faster and faster. You can do it. Victory, victory, victory. I made it to the top of the hill with a grand run when it shouldn't have been possible. I walked for a bit till I found the finish line Ann set for me. I ran across it and into the history books. What did I learn from this adventure? First, when we write a goal, we have set our definition of success. When we have the courage to try, we've increased our level of success. With a written goal, you can't escape. I counted my bike commuting to work and walking at lunch as my training program. It was inadequate, but I took what I had and I did it anyway. I found out that I had what it took. I set a date and did it. I began with the purpose of finishing. I went beyond my preconceived notion of what I could accomplish. It wasn't until I ventured into impossible territory that the doubt, despair, and fear had any power over me. It was only at my strongest that the monsters told me I was at my weakest. I had help. I had a mentor who waited for me to do the work, and she let me fail for a while, then gave me sound advice to make it through the hard part. In fighting monsters, I found my allies. Faith, persistence, power, preparation, purpose, and all of the years of rage, anger, frustration at the disappointment of working long hours just to get by. I could do anything that I put my mind to because I can do the impossible and run up the hill at the end. All those years of struggling are gone. I'm on a higher plane and look to the future with more power, vision, faith, and confidence. I can do anything and I'm not stopping here. Take a look at your life. Write down something impossible, then get the courage to try. You will fall. You can get up and go beyond anything you've ever done. You can experience what failure feels like and what leaving failure behind feels like. You can be happy with yourself. You can find that satisfaction that only belongs to the other guys. Life is yours. You can go out and try. If you fail, at least you entered the ring. You're a fantastic person and you can do more than you think. Set up a plan and follow it. Have the courage to write it down and commit yourself to trying. In trying, you will discover the truly wonderful person that you are. You can slay monsters and leave them crying on the side of the road. I'm Tom Jensen. Have a great day.